It was fireworks early for the Atlanta Hawks last week. DeJounte Murray trade, Zachary Riza-Shea picked number 1 overall, AJ Griffin traded, and now it's kind of the calm. And it's not going to be the calm before the storm because they don't really have any money. They don't want to spend any money.
Yeah,
They have
can we just say something like
they
the
have
Hawks?
cheap ownership.
Yeah, shut up. What are we talking about? Like, first of all, we just made arguably the biggest trade of the offseason. We had the number 1 overall pick a mere 24 hours before that deal came to fruition. We have very cheap owners who have done everything in their power to not pay the luxury tax. We're right at the luxury tax threshold. And you're expecting the Hawks to be in on guys like Klay Thompson? What the hell are you guys drinking? This is crazy. It's 10 a.m. Put down the bottle. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, they were never going to be active in free agency. They don't have any money. Maybe they get like a veteran here or there. I mean, they'll get somebody, but it's not going to be anybody that you're in love with. And plus, nobody wants to come play for the Hawks, buddy. Like, I don't understand what I have to tell you guys, but like the ownership sucks. I mean, we couldn't even get Alex Sarr to want to be drafted first overall to us. He'd rather play in Washington because our organization's such a mess. So. And that guy lived in Atlanta. He lived in Atlanta. He literally is familiar with the city, probably enjoyed it, and still was like, "No, I don't want to play for that organization. I'd rather go to the Washington Wizards." So yeah, nobody wants to play here, and we don't have any money. So the biggest offseason, checked box that we have pretty much remaining that is exciting is Jalen Johnson's contract. Now, what kind of contract? I mean, we saw, Devin Vassell and those guys receive like 130 million over 5 years. I think Jalen Johnson's more valuable than that. I don't see him getting like the 5 for 200 like Trae Young got, but anything in between those two, I mean, that seems like more than fair to me. I mean, these NBA contracts, and frankly, if Jalen Johnson continues to improve, like that's going to be a bargain because that new TV deal is going to kick in. And it's going to be, $100 million contracts. And Jalen Johnson's going to be making 30, 40 million and look like a peasant. He's going to look like a peasant to the guys making 100 million.
Yeah. I mean, his 1 year leap, from 2 years ago to last season, he improved scoring, and obviously his usage was up. So let's, put that aside. He improved scoring to 16 points. His 3-point shooting increased by more than 10%, sitting around 35, 35.5, I think, from 3. He's obviously incredibly versatile in transition, rebounding. He can facilitate a little bit. He can initiate a little bit. He's a slasher. He's an absolute, Swiss Army knife. And if he can improve upon that efficiency shooting, I mean, we're talking about one of the better players in basketball. Not just like, the Hawks got a good guy. This one is he could be one of the better players in basketball. And if you have that kind of projection, you're talking about a 20-point, 9 rebound, 4 assist guy. I mean, that gets him, and you're good defensively, at least versatile defensively. That's a max contract guy through and through in today's NBA. And if you can get that guy on a 5-year, $30 million deal, between $25 million and $30 million per year over 5 years, in year 2, you're going to be saying that's a bargain. In year 3, people are going to accuse you of stealing money from the kid. In year 4, he's going to be like, I need a max contract extension now. So if we're looking at the Atlanta Hawks and we're saying they're cheap, this is not the time to be cheap. This is the time to fork over money because it will come back in the end. Jalen Johnson projects as that guy. He is the most important piece on this Hawks team to us getting back to relevancy in the playoffs. It's not Trae Young. It's not Zachary Riza-Shea. It's not Quinn Snyder. It's not DeAndre Hunter. It's Jalen Johnson. He's not going to be the best player because Trae Young is an all-NBA talent. He's going to be the best player. He's the most important player. And
he could be.
I was about to say, he literally could be better than Trae Young. He's
dude, just imagine what he's going to be able to do as a facilitator and a playmaker without DeJounte Murray and Trae Young fighting over the ball down the court and crying about not getting the ball and pouting. as they, oh my God, you didn't let me bring up the court. That's all I saw the last 2 seasons. So, oh man, I'm not bringing the ball at the cup. Let me go sit in the corner and pout. I mean, now we get finally, we're done with that crap, and Jalen Johnson can be the second option. And we saw what kind of leap he had really in his first NBA action. For some reason, McMillan never wanted to play the guy. Made no sense. Like, we all saw, like, dude, this guy's kind of sick, and we didn't have that much depth, and they just didn't want to play him. Made no sense. But literally, basically year one, I mean, if we're really talking about it, this is his first time he got full action. He was ridiculous. And you can expect him to be better now that he's going to be a legitimate second option. And for all of those reasons, which I think you agree with, I agree with everything you said about him as a talent. I'm not signing for anything less than a max contract. Like, and if I'm the Hawks, I go ahead and give it to him. But just because it is going to be a bargain down the road, and it's not that big of a deal. And if he goes out there and averages 20 points, he's going to earn it. Maybe you make him earn it. You protect yourself for injury. I mean, you kind of have control of the situation. Because you get his rights after a rookie. But still, I mean, whether you do it now, whether you do it later, if I'm Jalen Johnson, I'm holding out for a max. So maybe it doesn't happen this offseason, because I would not sign for anything less than a max if I'm Jalen Johnson. I just would.
On the flip side of that, that is very true. Like, what he projects to be next year, just based on usage alone and not improved efficiency, just usage. His usage is going to go up with DeJounte Murray out of the fold. He projects as like over 20 plus points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal a game. That's a max contract guy in today's NBA.
Yeah. And that's just if he doesn't get better. Like, he can get better.
But on the flip side of things, he struggled to stay healthy this past season. Thank God it was nothing major. But if you're Jalen Johnson's agent, this is what you're presenting him. You're saying, look, you're a max contract guy through and through. But in the unfortunate scenario where you do suffer a very serious injury, whether it's an ACL, something very serious, and you're out for the season, you're going to get pennies on the dollar after this season. So I think that if you're his agent, these are the two sides.
In the NBA, bro, you still go out there, he'd still get 150 million. Like, they would be like, whatever, you came off, and you'd still get a ton of money. I just, whatever. I mean, if they hold out, they hold out. It's gonna get done. Like, the Hawks have full control, like whether they have to wait a year or not. I mean, you'd obviously like to get out ahead of the curve and hopefully sign him at a lower number. But
I don't know what's in the water. I mean, I don't know what's in the water. I don't know if it's Quinn Snyder. He's a snake oil salesman, or they're whispering in these kids' ears. I mean, DeJounte Murray signed well below market. So who's to say they couldn't do the same thing with Jalen Johnson? That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it is always nice to see someone, for whatever reason, enjoy Atlanta. And guess what? If you do it, we're going to trade you away the very next season. Yeah. No, you love it here, DeJounte? Yeah. Well, too bad. We have this spoiled brat that loves it here a little bit more. And Trey. I'm kidding. I do love Trey. And I just think I really got to know what the dynamic is with Trae Young. Like, I've been dying to know, like, is he actually a terrible teammate, or like, is the narrative true? Like, I don't know if all the thoughts are starting to creep in my head. Like, I eventually it's all going to come out, right? We're going to know, like, is Trae Young a bad teammate or not? I got to know.
It's like everything. It's like everything. He's not as bad as everybody says. He's not some angel that, these Trae Young muse on Twitter think he is. I mean, he's somewhere in the middle.
Well, we got to go to break, or we're going to have like no time for any other segments. But yeah, Jalen Johnson extension. Hopefully that gets done this offseason.